What's up, guys? We're at Elite Boxing Fitness Center here in Oviedo, Florida. Getting ready to meet with our first special guest of 2021. Should be a good time. Let's go inside and check it out. Tiffany, thanks for joining me today. How you doing?
Good, doing good, thanks. We just had a pretty intense workout. So.
Yeah, I'm sweating here. I feel like I just went 12 rounds. I really appreciate trading some punches with you. And when did you get into boxing?
Well, I started doing, the typical cardio boxing fitness classes, and I started out at the UFC gym in Winter Springs, which I actually teach there now a couple of days a week. And then, where that's more fitness, they did have and do have like fight team programs, which is where you start doing some drilling and some light sparring. You can do private, so you kind of decide you want to perfect your technique a little bit, so you start doing some private trainings, and then from there you can start sparring if you want, and then when you start sparring you can decide, maybe I want to see what all this sparring and training is getting me, and you decide you want to take a fight. So I met Dorian, he brought one of his fighters in at the time to train, and I ended up coming here. So I've been here for over 2 years now.
And Dorian's the owner here at Elite Boxing Fitness, and we're in Oviedo, Florida.
Correct.
And in those 2 years, I've seen on Facebook you post some fights that you've had. How many fights have you had?
I've had 6 fights. This year my record is 4-2. This year's been hard for fighting, obviously, with COVID. Nobody really got to fight unless you fought at the very beginning of the year, nobody got to fight until the end of the year. And so we had a lot of ring rust going on.
I've wanted to show people the journey that I'm taking to kind of prepare for the future. You had mentioned the idea of having this conversation about fitness over 40. What can you tell the people that are watching here about your experience and things that you think would be helpful to them?
Yeah, I think, our society has a tendency to dismiss people over 40, and especially in the fitness community, there are a lot of people that really play, they're like, I'm over 40, and what works for me is I don't focus on my age. So I've never stopped, and I've kind of experimented with all different kinds of activities. I'm not a team sports person, so I've always done solo sports. So I've been a runner, I've been obviously into the weightlifting, been a runner, been a cyclist. Obviously boxing is, pretty much a solitary sport, not really a team sport, even though we have a team. At the end of the day, it's you alone in the ring. It's you and one other person in the ring. I've always worked out since my 20s. I've always had some go-to activity, and discovered boxing, and I've kind of probably stuck with that the longest so far. But the key for me in terms of being over 40 is I don't focus on my age, I just don't stop moving. And I feel like as you get older, to stop is almost death. Like I'm always there, they laugh at me because I'm always so worried about getting injured, because for me, I think being out of commission for like 6 to 8 weeks, it was so hard to get back into it. So I think the key is don't stop moving. And I don't focus on my age, and you saw we work with so many different ages.
Yeah,
kids.
There's a good mix of people in here.
We have a 65-year-old that comes in and he kicks ass. So
what am I going to be like when I'm 60?
Right.
So,
and that's a key thing, I think, too, because when you're in your 20s, maybe working out is more about aesthetics. Like I want to look good and be fit. And when you get older, you start to realize how important it is. Flexibility, core strength.
Absolutely.
The cardio. You see people your age, my age, you're younger than I am, like, they can't even bend over and tie their own shoes, or they fall and they can't get up. And it's a huge, it starts to become about more than just looks. It's about having a good quality of life. You get aches and pains, you get injuries, you have to adapt, you have to figure out how to keep going to work around them. I've been dealing with a really severe bulging disc in my sciatic nerve injury all year. Worked through it, it's getting a lot better, but I always have to just keep moving no matter what. So
I saw that dead arms video of yours on Facebook, and it's amazing. It was a minute of just pad work, high intensity, and do you remember the video I'm talking about?
Yeah, the continuous uppercut for conscientious of time, and you kind of want to pace yourself. You're always aware of, like the clock, and you take a look, okay, I've got 15 seconds left, okay, this is the way I need to pace myself. And competitive people, we see that 15 seconds, they're like, okay, I'm gonna like turn it on. And so the last 15, 10 seconds, you're going. So just focus on the job at hand.
Yeah, and I think that's the big thing, focus, get down in that place. Some people say get in that dark place and keep moving, and you may not realize it, but it's an impressive, to be able to do that takes a certain mindset. Your mind will give up before your body will, and that's why I was impressed by that, because some people see 45 seconds out of a minute and they're done. And other people, in your case, you see those 15 seconds and it's like, amp up, let's finish up strong.
And fighting teaches you that, training for fighting teaches you that, because the last 30 seconds of the fight are crucial. Masters can fight for up to 2-minute rounds, but typically, with all the fights on the card, they'll cut it down to a minute or minute and a half, and it's impossible to describe the intensity. I mean, you tasted a little bit of it today.
Right, yeah.
But you 3 rounds.
Barely.
Fighting is like 1,000 times more intense. Like the only thing more intense is somebody actually trying to kill you. So you've got, in addition to the physical stuff, you've got the adrenaline going through you, which does crazy things to your body. Like you might have heard me saying one of the later rounds, I was starting to get fight legs.
Yeah.
That's your legs just feel like they're not going to support you. Your legs start to feel like jelly, and like in a fight, that's everything. All that stuff can mess with your head as well as nerves. Like I get pretty bad performance anxiety. I'm always talking about that with Dorian, because it's like I'm very competitive people.
Right.
Especially when you're there with a team, you got all this stuff running through your head. Like I don't want to be the one person on the team that loses their fight. And I want to do my coach proud, and I want to do my friends proud, my husband, and everybody that's watching me. So you've got all these things, and it's for me, mental is like the number one thing. If you can get past that, then everything else is good. And everything else you've trained for, you've drilled for, it comes out of you, but you gotta get past that mental. Every woman I ever talked to, including myself when I started, was like, I don't want to get hit in the face. Yeah. And once you start getting hit in the face, you're like, oh, I survived.
Right.
But it's not for everybody. But there's room for however far you want to take it. If you want to do title boxing fitness classes and just hit the bag, that's great. When you find a good boxing gym like this, and you've got a staff and a coach that's supervising everybody to make a safe environment. I mean, I got a black eye today, but it is what it is.
Special for Human Bulldog, guys. You hear that?
I haven't had a black eye like probably all year, and
what a gift! What a gift!
They don't usually show up that well on camera, but hopefully. But yeah, I mean, it's not all women are going to want to get hit in the face, and that's fine. And there was a newer woman here I was working with today, and every time she hit me, she's apologizing, and that's a tendency I think for women. Like, oh my gosh, I hit you. Like when I started, I'd rather have somebody hit me than hit somebody. I would always apologize. But you get over all that. But you don't have to. But combat sports, even the last 10 years for women, it's changed so much. More women are getting into it, and I think there's the stereotype of kind of the tomboyish woman is going away. You're seeing you can be a feminine woman, and you can also kick ass in the ring or on the mat. So and
that's it's funny you bring that up, because I did not meet Tiffany in this environment. I met her at a party in a dress, looking very lovely, and in here she's kicking ass. So
we'll fight a lot of external perceptions about that. People think you should be a certain way.
Right.
We're proving, that you can be yourself. Again, you don't have to worry about what other people are going to think of you. You don't have to worry that people are going to think you're tomboyish. There's also a challenge and we have it here too, where some guys just don't want to hit you.
Right.
And
I tried to hit her, guys. I swear I was not successful though.
Well, I mean, and I always. I sympathize, a lot of guys are raised, don't hit a woman or whatever, but you're not doing women any favors. Like, I'm not getting good work.
I think I would be insulting you
it is
by
insulting,
coming in here. Like, you're a superior athlete to me in this realm. Why would I insult you by
and they're not doing
treating
it on purpose.
you like...
they're not doing it on purpose. They're just raised, I shouldn't hit a woman or whatever. And some of them don't care, which is fine. But my point is, I'm aggressive.
Right.
Actually, there's different levels of aggression. I'm pretty aggressive. So if you don't give me a penalty for coming in and charging at you, I'm just going to punch you relentlessly. So I'm like, you got to hit me back. You got to hit me back. Because then I also get overly confident. And then I get to the person that is going to hit me back. And I'm like, I'm getting hit back. So you're not giving me good work by not hitting me. So,
not preparing you for the real deal that you want to face in the future.
So there are all these things you got to deal with.
I heard you mention something about body composition recently, and that's something that I'm very interested in how are you trying to incorporate your fitness and nutrition to get the body composition that you're looking for?
Yeah, I mean, one thing that boxing also teaches you is how to manipulate your body pretty quickly. You know, you learn how you have to kind of cut weight in a week or a couple weeks. And I'm pretty fortunate that I put muscle on pretty easily, so it's kind of easy for me to stay with. So I try to keep everything as simple as possible. Like, I don't count macros, I don't get into all that. Like, I know what works for me, and I love food. You know, we met in kind of foodie circles, so we love
Damn
food.
you, Tiffany, I've got to count every single thing, or else I just put on weight like crazy.
Well, I count calories. I count calories, but I don't count macros. And that's the thing for me. Like, a calorie is a calorie is a calorie. But what you learn when you're on a fitness journey or you're trying to manipulate your body is, like, I could eat a donut for breakfast for 350 calories, but I'm going to be hungry 20 minutes later.
Right.
So you learn pretty quickly, oh, you know what, I'm going to have a bowl of oatmeal and a piece of whole grain toast and you know, some juice, and I could get all that for the same amount of calories and be satisfied to lunch. So it's just things you learn, but at the same time, you have to make yourself not go crazy. So I have kind of a system that works for me where I'm super strict in the week, and I try to eat as clean as possible. I mean, you slip and come back into it, you know, especially when you love food. And then on the weekends, because that's typically, you know, under normal circumstances when we're going out to restaurants and things like that. And I want to enjoy my life and I want to enjoy food, and so I eat what I want. But I do track everything calorie-wise. Again, a calorie is a calorie. I don't overcomplicate it. But I know, you know, that if I eat the fettuccine Alfredo, I'm going to have to pay for it somewhere along the line in the week. And I'm willing to do that. But I know how to manipulate, like, what I need to do.
Is there anything you want to say to anybody out there that could be watching this about boxing or fitness or anything else?
Yeah, I mean, it's you know, especially as we've been focused a little bit on, like, over 40 and stuff, I think it's taken me a very long time to kind of fine tune my program, what works for me, figure out what works for me in terms of diet, figure out what I like in terms of activity. And like I said, I've gone through the gamut of all sorts of exercises, you know, having discovered boxing, kickboxing, whatever, combat fitness. I'll probably be here for as long as I can be, you know, as long as I can do it, I'll be doing it, because it's such a, you know, we talked about, like, it's not the drudgery of the treadmill. This, I'm not thinking about, like, I'm just always somewhere to go, like, always something to work on. So I'm focused that 45 minutes, an hour goes by, and I'm like, oh, okay, class is over. Yeah. And it's fun. There's just always something to work on. It never gets old.
Yeah, I do have something for you.
Oh, goodness.
I got you this shirt. I've gotten it for anybody. You know, you're the second interview, so I hope you wear it proudly. And thank you so much for doing this. You know, I want people to see. I chose you as the first one for 2021 because of the inspiration that I got from watching you bust your ass in here. And if I can get a little piece of that and pass it to somebody else, then I'm doing what I want to do.
I appreciate it, and I love your journey and following you, and you've done great work so far too, and I look forward to seeing, you know, where you take it.
Great, thanks. All right, guys, see you next week.